Mute your mic when you're not speaking. If you want to say anything, kindly raise your hands in the chat box. And if you must comment, use the chat button C for comment, Q for question. And please kindly ensure you can still hear the fire alarm with your headset on. And if you're driving and you're joining this conference, kindly park your car and then join the conference. If you're walking, look for a comfortable and quiet place to sit down and join the conference. Be at alert and be aware of your environment. Always stay safe. Thank you so much. So the next on our agenda is the presentation. Right now, we are going to be introducing our moderator for this event. And shortly, I'll be reading the citation of our moderator. Our moderator for today's event is Mr. Ugochukwu Onwalele. Mr. Ugochukwu Onwalele is a strategic management consultant with decades of practical hands-on experience in strategic business management in the West African region. He holds a Master of Science degree in accounting from the University of Port Harcourt and a Bachelor of Science degree in accounting from Kwame Nkrumah University of Ghana. He is certified Usher Academy, OSH Oil and Gas Safety Professional, PECB Certified Management System Auditor for ISO 9001 and 45001 standard. He is a fellow of Environmental Crisis and Risk Management Institute, affiliate and honorary member of World Safety Organization, Red Cross Society of Nigeria. His general areas of expertise are quality, occupational health and safety, management system implementation, audits, and strategic human resource management. He is currently the CEO of Clarented Services Limited and board member for several multinationals and serving as a Lagos State coordinator for World Safety Organization. In 2017 and 2018, he was awarded Torchbearer Award by Niger Safety Records. In 2008, he was conferred a Safety Ambassador for World Safety Organization, Nigeria chapter. Welcome, Mr. Ugochukwu Onwalele. Over to you, sir. Mr. Ugochukwu Onwalele, can you hear me, sir?
Okay, good morning all. While we wait for the moderator of today's event to be here with us, he's having a little technical issue. I would like to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Nnamdi Ahiamadu. Mr. Nnamdi Ahiamadu was one of our guest speakers yesterday, and he did a wonderful job with his lecture yesterday, and in fact, we have so many questions that we couldn't handle yesterday because of time, and some of those questions I would like also use this opportunity to also present them to him, and hopefully he can do justice to it immediately. So, Mr. Nnamdi, kindly confirm you can hear us loud and clear, and you are present in the meeting.
Yes, I can hear you clearly, and I am here.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I would like to start with a question yesterday evening. Although you started talking about it, but I would still like you to kindly throw more light on that. Still the question on how we can marry the issues of health and environment without solving one problem and creating problem for the other. Can you throw more light on that, sir?
Okay, good morning. Thank you once again. For everything you do in nature, there has to be some trade-off. Certainly so. And that's why you need to do some form of benefit assessment, net benefit assessment on the approaches you're taking. So you take a net benefit assessment, the one that you're going to compromise, what is the benefit you're going to get from the one you are advocating? You can't get everything at the same time, so there has to be trade-offs. Like the case in question, which was mentioned yesterday, having to reduce people in vehicles due to the social distancing, therefore speculated that they will need more commutations of the vehicles or more vehicles to carry the same number of people they usually would carry over time. This will lead to increase the emission. That's actually what is going to happen. If you have to drive more cars, it means you have to have more emissions. But what is the trade-off here? What is the advantage of having more people moving at the same time? Is what we have to measure. What is the trade-off at every point in time? And as of yesterday, I still did mention that the reduction in the number of people in each vehicle had also, there is a parallel requirement that not everybody at this point should be coming out. Offices are ramping up gradually, 30%, 40%. I think my office is just moving from 35% maybe to 50 right now. So if the other 50 are staying at home, it compensates actually for the number of people who should be commuting. But unfortunately, not everybody is respecting these rules. Everybody's in the streets and all that. But if everybody have to come out, then it means that we are trading off maybe financials because of financial burdens on people for the environment. So for every time there is a trade-off between one sector of the economy and the other sector. And I can tell you, one of the most disadvantages about these sectors is the environment, because not so many people are even aware of the consequences of the actions to the environment. So the environment is usually on the receiving side. And for every development the world over, there is a collision between that development and the environment. So this can only be by trade-offs, and then or you try to mitigate as much as possible. This is the only way you can go. You cannot get one and the other together. No, just like it said, can't eat your cake and have it. So we must choose one path by doing a proper assessment to measure the trade-off and where the net benefit lies between the options. I don't know if that makes some sense to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's further clarified what you said yesterday on the issue. Okay, just before we proceed, I'd like to recognize the presence of the SP Port Harcourt Section Director in the person of Mr. Othman Mohammed. You're welcome, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, back to Mr. Nnamdi. During your presentation, you mentioned that the pandemic and vis-a-vis the lockdown brought about some positive impacts in our ecosystem as it were, the environment, meaning that we're seeing some improvement in aquatic life and organisms in the environment, So I'm wondering, this question is partly linked to organizations and community relationships. If, for example, some of our local farmers have started to see, let's say, bountiful fishes in the river, and may not really understand that this is as a result of the pandemic and less human activities causing the pollution in the past. When companies want to go back to maybe carrying out full-scale operations, because I understand a lot of companies scale down on their operations, don't you think there may be some form of resistance or, let's say, confusion or disagreement between organizations and community?
Let's Okay, taking it from a community perspective, if people understand that, okay, the scale down operations of the companies has been some advantage to them and their environment, it will be the same like the normal resistance you have. Of course, every day you're working, you have resistance. If I take it from the oil and gas where I work, there is no day we don't have resistance in operations, whether we are scaled down or we're not scaled down. We even have some of our facilities that are completely shut down and they are still giving you lots of problem. I had the gate in Port Harcourt blocked by a community where the well, which was drilled in the 1970 something, which was, of course, dry, was never produced one day just because there is a facility there, well held, that is capped. They blocked the gate. So the community resistance does not come from what you understand. It's just your presence in the community will bring the resistance from the community at all points. But like we said, knowledge is power. If they realize that, oh, when you minimize your activities from your industry and your emissions, there was some advantage that are accrued to them. Of course, you expect that some of the knowledgeable ones will try to stand on that and say, no, why can't you maintain on the same scale of your operations so we can still enjoy the little leverage you have? Certainly so, but it will still require the same engagement. Entry, you have to develop your entry plan back into the community. It's like even if you're going for a new project, you still have to do an entry plan to the communities where you're going to. So to go back into full scale, to ramp up your operations, you will need your entry plan. You need engagement of your stakeholders. So you will still share your opinions on the advantages of your coming back and what the community will gain and all that. Of course, like I said, for every development, there is still the collision with the environment. So the consequences as well, they will know during this engagement and your entry plan. So you don't just rush back, obviously. It will create some flashpoint of discontent between the company and the community, definitely. But you need a proper entry plan, which is engagement of the community. They will understand why you're coming back, why the operations have to continue at the rate you were going before, and what advantages they will also get from your increased operation as against what they're losing by increased emissions of into the environment. So it's engagement. For sure, the flashpoints will come, but you need engagement and strategy to cope them.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. And then the last question is, we understand that the issue that has to do with environment or environmental concerns is a global issue, and of course should be given a global approach to tackling. What I mean is, even though on the map we see countries with their lines and boundaries, in reality, those lines don't really exist because we don't have those fences on the ground. So you cannot exactly encapsulate your country and do your environmental policies and don't consider other countries. So do you think there's really a global approach to tackling, or rather solving the issues of environmental pollution and challenges due to human activities?
Yeah, unfortunately, the world has been divided into such enclaves of nations, and so with each nation being autonomous in their own way of doing things. Agreed, the world is a global village, but these restrictions, as they are, empowers each nation to make their laws and to grow along their lines. So that, of course, is a major problem. If you go to the Earth Summit of 1992, the Rio Declaration in Principle 11, it was declared that states shall enact effective environmental legislation. Environmental standards, management objectives, and priorities should reflect the environmental and developmental context to which they apply. Standards applied by some countries may be inappropriate or of unwarranted economic and social cost to other countries, in particularly developing countries. This is even what the world has said, because nations have to evolve as apply environmental legislation as they evolve. Countries that their basic need is food and shelter cannot start extreme legislation and environmental mitigations when they don't have food and shelter. So it's a major challenge. The development of the world is not equal. So that inequality in our development is as well what is challenging environmental legislations in countries and implementations as well. So the problem in one country, of course, can transmit to other countries, like the close by nations. That's why we're now having bilateral agreements. I happen to have been within the GI WACAF project in that's West and Central Africa for oil spill response. We had bilateral agreements with Cameroon because of the facilities we have in the Gulf of Guinea that impact could be in Cameroon. So we had bilateral agreements. We were doing joint oil spill response activations, exercises to see how each country can assist the other country. So the only way this is being done is by these conventions, the international conventions, the regional conventions. We have for what we call the Guinea Current Commission for the Guinea Current area, which is almost the West Africa, have the Guinea Current. You have the Banguela Current for other regions in Africa. So these the conventions and the regional conferences are helping the nations to build their environmental response along the same level. This is much that can be done, but each nation is still independent and autonomous. But agreed, impact from one nation can transmit to global problem. And so this convention, the Earth Summit, all the United Nations protocols and declarations they're making is to standardize the practice the world over. But even at that, they also take consideration that not all countries would be able to implement these protocols at the same time. So they allow a phasing of the protocols, implementation of these protocols based on the growth and development of the country. So it's global, but the global approach is by support. When I presented yesterday, I gave the United Nations Environment Programme support for the negative impacts emanating from the COVID lockdown. And it's for the nations to accept them. And they can only provide those awareness and give you support to implement them. But it is the responsibility of each independent nation to do this. There's no global organization that has the power to lock you down. But most civilized areas in Europe, they have the European Environmental Agency, which is giving a more global direction for European nations. But in Africa, we are still not, AU is not yet at that capacity. So that is it. It's certain we'll have global problem, but the nations are being guided from some international conventions, with international conventions and protocols to meet up with environmental mitigations. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. We have with us our moderator for the event, Mr. Ugochukwu Nwaelele. Sir, welcome and kindly confirm you can hear us.
Thank you very much. Yes, I can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Sorry.
Okay, just before you came in, we just had a quick wrap up from yesterday's question and answer. You know, we ran out of time yesterday, so luckily we have one of our speakers with us, and he quickly was able to address those questions. So we'll go straight to the training session. I'll give the floor over to you to drive the process. Thank you, sir.
All right. Hello, can you come?
Hello, please, we can't hear him again.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Right. Good morning, all. Welcome once more to day 2 of today's wonderful event. Like Mr. Daniel said, we'll proceed with the training. I would like to introduce our trainer for today. Our trainer is Mr. Dare J. Akim Fosile. He's a good friend. He's an experienced occupational safety and health professional, an emergency response personnel, and a competent, compassionate, and certified first aid trainer with records of accomplishments of excellence in the areas of health and safety, emergency preparedness, and response and first aid. He is a dedicated humanitarian with at least 17 years of cogent experience in the humanitarian services sector, while volunteering for the Red Cross, St. John's Ambulance, and a few other non-governmental organizations. He has up to 22 years of first aid and emergency response experience. Dare is a member of Institute of Safety Professionals of Nigeria, ISPON, World Safety Organization, WSO, Emergency Crisis Risk Management Institute. He loves to volunteer and enjoys recreational sports and training. I want to add that Dare is a professional to the core, and I urge you all to bring your pen and paper and listening ears and listen to him as a good friend. He has a lot to impact. Mr. Dare, are you here? Hello, Mr. Dare. Let me check.
Sorry, yeah, he was muted.
Okay. Can you please unmute him?
Okay.
Okay, yes, I'm here.
Right, so
Yes,
I'll hand
good
over the
morning.
floor to you. Welcome.
Just give me a moment. I thought my session was 2 o'clock. I was prepared for 2. That's what is on the program, right?
Yes, but we had a few hitches, and can you take
Okay,
up
then
this line?
yes, I can take it up, but I will need it like a 5 minutes because
Okay,
I need to
that's great.
I will need to move my equipment.
Okay, that's great. We
Thank
can
you.
move into something else while we do. All right.
Okay, while the trainer gets his materials ready, I don't know, we can quickly take the polls, because we have the poll where we'll flash some questions and participants can give their feedback. It's very important to us. And maybe after the poll, you can quickly give a quick summary of the outcome of the poll, Mr. Moderator.
All right, great.
So we'll all see questions pop up on our screen, so we can start giving our feedbacks.
Hello, House. Can we see the questions in front of our screen? Oh, great. I see responses.
So similar completed, you can project the results so that Mr. Ogochukwu can give us a quick feedback on the outcome of the poll.
Okay, though we still have some people still sending in their responses.
Okay, no, poll is just a representation of the general impression, so everybody must not participate. As much as we have, we can end the poll. It's just 5 questions.
Okay, can I proceed?
Yes, sir, you can.
Oh, great. So thank you all, our great participants, for making our time to share in these poll results, filling out the questions. So we have a few questions that we all answer to. I'd like to read the results. We have here question 1. Which of these categories best describes you? 3 options here: students, young professionals, and employees. So we have 49% of the population of these events as employees, and they are the greater respondents. Young professionals are next, and then students are only 19%. However, you're all important and significant. The second question is, how has the COVID-19 pandemic affected the security situation in Nigeria? And so 72% of our respondents said, yes, security has gotten worse. 16% says, no, security situation remains the same. That's about 16%. And 9% says, yes, security has improved. Okay, and so we have 72% here saying that security has gotten worse. And I agree with you. It's no longer happening in the north alone. We're experiencing it all over Nigeria, the east, south, middle belt, and everywhere. Now, I think question 3, the COVID-19 pandemic brought a lot of man-made activities to a halt. Do you think there was an effect on the environment? 8% of us responded to this, responded higher to this and said, yes, less pollution from human activities has improved our environment. And 20% said, yes, more pollution to the environment due to job losses or of road cleaners. And 0 responded. There was no response on the last option. No, coronavirus has nothing to do with environment. And so the greater population are saying that, yes, less pollution, less pollution from human activities has improved our environment. Question 4, how would you describe how you may have personally affected, question 4 again. How would you describe how you may have been personally affected by the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic? Please select all that apply to you. And a greater number, about 67%, says my family income has been affected. A few, 26%, says my life has not been affected in these ways. And 7% of the respondents says I or family members have been sick or diagnosed with COVID-19 virus. And so a good number of us are agreeing that family income has been affected. Number 5 says, do you think the policy from the international organizations from Europe and the US limiting investments and finance of fossil fuel powered energy at the peak of the pandemic had any current impact on the energy sector in Africa? 79% of us said yes, it has impacted the energy sector. 16% says not sure, and only 5% says no, it didn't affect the energy sector. Okay, and so this is the outcome of our polls. As you can see, we have more employees here. Security issues have increased in our country, like you hear in the news, and some may have experienced sadly. The pandemic has brought losses to, has impacted the air pollution. Less pollution in the environment has improved the environment. As you saw last year, the factories were not working, so air pollution, the environmental waste, all of those reduced. And we had cleaner air, better environments to live in. The 4 says family income and personal income dropped due to lack of earning power. And then, do you think the policies of the international, a good number said yes, it impacted the energy sector? Mr. Dara, are you here?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we would now hand over the time to Mr. Dara. Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. We have with us a selection of persons who will be handling a workshop segment. And it's interesting to mention that this workshop will encompass persons from different categories. Let me use that word, because we have students as panelists, we have young professionals, we even have our senior professionals with us. In fact, what we interested the most, we have our section director as one of the panelists. So what the workshop is all about is just to, hear the views of persons from every different category in the workplace, understand how this pandemic has really, really affected them. But what we'll do that after the training, because I can see Mr. Dari is already ready for us. So Dari, if you can hear us, we'll give the floor to you while our workshop panelists prepare in the background. Confirm you can hear us, Mr. Dari.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir.
Can you also see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
So I'll be discussing resuscitation and the risk of coronavirus disease, or what we call COVID-19. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone, the committee that has put this together. And I feel honored to have been invited to speak on this occasion. So I would move on, assuming you can all hear me. My name is Dari. We've done this before, where at the start of COVID-19 and when the resuscitation guidelines were updated to give consideration for COVID-19. And I've written the name of the contributor, Babalola Eliman, who is also a friend of mine. At some point, I was afraid that in the middle of the whole activities that I have there, I may not be able to take this, and I would put him on standby. So he would have also taken this conveniently, because it was a joint effort at that time. So we'll be sharing some of these things. One question that keeps coming in first aid training is how do we now perform cardiopulmonary resuscitation if someone is not breathing? Because you need to perform CPR at the point where someone is not breathing. And so this will help to answer those questions. We will not be going into much, of course, in-depth the science of resuscitation, but I would, as much as possible, try to explain in simple terms. I would cover overview of cardiopulmonary resuscitation. What that means is that what is CPR in itself? How do you perform CPR conventionally, with or without COVID? And then we'll discuss the risk of the coronavirus disease in CPR. Then we'll talk about risk reduction for lay persons. And that is quite important because we have different procedures, we have different recommendations for healthcare practitioners. So don't be tempted to go to Google and then you find all these fancy PPEs worn on someone that looks like an astronaut. And so if you don't have this, you cannot perform CPR. That is not the case. We'll also discuss some advanced CPR method. We would not be going in depth, but I bet you would probably have seen some of these things online or in the movies or on YouTube. So we would expect that you are able to identify common risks laypersons will face while performing CPR, be informed on the basics of CPR, and also measures to take while performing CPR in a pandemic. And now we would not be discussing the ethical issues. Cardiopulmonary is, COVID-19 brought some ethical issues into first aid and healthcare. Do we decide to help someone? What should we do? Should we save this person in place of the other person who needs more oxygen at what time? We'll not be going into that. There are a lot of gray areas, even at this time, 1 year over the start of COVID-19. So there are some assumptions that we understand the basic theories, standards, and recommendations, because we'll probably make reference to some of those things. Previously, when we did this, we would often look at the current state of COVID-19 everywhere in the world, but I will not bug you with that. I'm sure I participated yesterday, although not fully, and I noticed that some of these things were mentioned. So I've decided to skip that and go straight up to Cardiopulmonary Station. This image is from resuscitation 2020. Every year I organize training on just resuscitation. You can actually learn resuscitation within a couple of minutes, but imagine if you came to class to learn resuscitation for 8 hours. How do you perform resuscitation on someone that's very big, someone who is pregnant, someone who has been stabbed on the chest, and all those complications? That's what we do. Yet it's still for lame persons. So it's quite interesting. So we'll move on to the current guidelines. This has been updated to cover for COVID-19, but there's not much different. The basics is still the same thing. The chances that someone who has suffered sudden cardiac arrest will recover or would survive depend on the first responders or the person on the scene's ability to recognize the condition to even prevent cardiac arrest in the first place. Or after identifying that, are you able to get help on time? And are you able to perform cardiopulmonary resuscitation effectively? And that is what we teach in CPR class. Everybody knows that CPR is, press on the person's chest, blow into the mouth a couple of times. But the effectiveness of CPR is what is really, really quite challenging. And so your ability to perform CPR early enough, and then we have defibrillation, which is a big problem in our society. You don't have defibrillators everywhere, unfortunately. You probably have to get to the big companies, big oil and gas companies, or big hotels to find a defibrillator. Unfortunately, you would need a defibrillator at least once in every 2 cases of cardiac arrest. And without it, you would not be able to resuscitate that person. Yes, you can perform CPR to buy time and get ambulance. And of course, when the ambulance comes, just this morning, I was told of a situation where there was a cardiac arrest somewhere, and the people performed CPR, and ambulance did not show up in 3 hours. Let me just say that story wasn't Nigeria, but just last week, I had a situation where I responded, and for over 1 hour, the ambulance never came in Lagos, and I used to encourage people to call the ambulance anyway. So I will discuss the general guideline. Again, we are not discussing CPR in depth, so you would forgive me if I don't really go into certain details because we are pressed on time. The European Resuscitation Guidelines on Basic Life Support. I know some of us may have done training with American Heart Association or some other guidelines, but I'm discussing the European Resuscitation Guidelines here. Once someone is unresponsive, approach the person safely. Get their responses, do not shake them. Now, I am discussing without the risk of COVID-19. Now, the reason we do this is that if you share the same level of risk with someone, say a member of your household, or you are with your kid or your child or your member of your household when CPR is needed, you may have to perform CPR conventionally, that is with the mouth-to-mouth. I'm primarily in the aviation sector. What is being practiced in aviation today is that you have the same set of crew that operates a flight for a period of time, such that once there is a case of COVID, in that crew, you remove all the crew and then you replace them with another crew rather than removing one or two persons. And then you're playing games with who may have been exposed. So in such states where you would assume that your level of risk is the same, or you've taken upon yourself as maybe gods have spoken to you or your moral convention to perform CPR convention, and then it is fine because your chances are better with mouth-to-mouth or what we call rescue breath. And so when someone is not responding, call emergency services. The first point for adults, and then again, we would focus on adult compression or CPR. You start your 30 chest compression at the center of the chest. Unfortunately, I won't be able to demonstrate this. At the center of the chest, ensuring your arms are perpendicular to the chest, your chest over the person's chest.
Hello, Daria, are you there? Hello? I think we lost him.
Yeah, I think we lost him.
Can you hear Mr. Daniel? Yeah. Maybe poor network.
Yeah.
I guess he'll be back soon.
Yeah.
Right, so it's been beautiful listening to him. A few things I picked out from what he's done so far. You know, one important point he made was that the person's chance of survival lies on the first respondent's ability to be professional and respond. And so this is a call to all of us to learn how to perform first aid, especially CPR, for individuals around us. If you do not know how to do this, please make some time after this section to learn how to perform CPR. It could happen, it's an emergency, it can happen anywhere. It could happen in your home, your office, it could happen at place, wherever your market, church, mosque, wherever you find yourself. And so it's an important skill that we all must have this time around in order to help save those around us. Hello, Dari. Okay, and so while we wait for him to come in, he also mentioned something interesting, sharing an experience from his industry on the kind of adaptation they had in response to COVID-19, the staggered work routine, where all employees do not need to be at the same place at the same time. And I think that as the great percentage of us are employees, we should probably consider implementing this in our place of work so that if there is COVID-19 cited with a particular team, that team can be isolated while the business operations continue to go on. I think he's here now. Hello, Dari.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Right. Welcome back. Yes.
Yeah, my sincere apologies. I didn't even know I was locked out.
Welcome. Welcome to the normal.
So I'm sorry. Okay. So we move on. Again, the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies is advising that you ensure that the scene is safe, check for response, open the person's airway. Again, this is the conventional resuscitation, and I've given you the reason why we still find it relevant to teach this and ensure that the breathing and then start chest compression, or if the person is a child or an adult with certain situation, you may start with initial 2 to 5 initial rescue breaths and then alternate with 30 chest compression and then continue with 2 rescue breaths. So you continue these cycles until you get the emergency medical services. If you get the AED on site, then stop performing compression and then go to your the use of AED and then follow the instructions of the AED. Again, if the casualty is a child, the reason we are saying this is that you may actually be at home with your child, or for whatever reason, if you have a child in a workplace and the child goes into a state of cardiac arrest, usually it's as a result of asphyxiation. And so giving initial rescue breath before you start compression benefits the child. And this is why we still teach it, because resuscitation without rescue breath for children benefit of it. And all that, you and I, we're not medical professionals. Regular guy who knows first aid, are you perfect? However, if you can remember or more than 2 rescuers, that is, you have multiple first aiders as the same, you can now do 15 chest compressions. And so now AED is so important that if you deploy AED within the first 5 minutes, the chances that someone would survive is up to 70%. Now, the survival rate for sudden cardiac arrest is low. Globally, it's about 1%. And that means that I don't have the figure, because every time there was an accident or an emergency, you find people walking away or making videos. But in US, the survival rate is up to 5% out of the hospital, not inside the hospital now, out of the hospital. So that's about, this is what CPR entails. Conventionally, you perform your 30 chest compression and 2 rescue breaths. Now, let's talk about the risk of COVID-19. This image is showing resuscitation with the use of what we call bag valve mask. In the market, they call it ambu bag. This does not prevent you from the risk of COVID-19, and I will explain. Of course, the hazard is coronavirus. What we are performing here is cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Now, CPR generates aerosol. What that means is that the way I'm speaking, I'm generating aerosol because I have droplets of saliva coming out from my mouth. If you perform CPR, the same thing will happen. It's as if this person is speaking to you, because as you compress the chest, we are creating a surge in the airway, and we have saliva in the mouth and mucus in the airway. And as you are doing that, you are generating aerosol. It's like spraying your perfume and you have that tiny droplet of fluid coming out. That means you are exposed to the hazard and you're at risk of contracting COVID-19. So what we mean by aerosol, they're actually suspension of fine, tiny particles or liquid droplets in the air. Now, there's what we call aerosol generating procedure, and CPR is actually one of them. Whether you are using conventional CPR, you are using your body, or you are using mechanical device to perform CPR, that will be the last thing I would mention. Or you are using back valve mask, you would generate aerosol. And so it doesn't protect you. Mention the ones lay persons can do, or if you have basic training to advanced training in first aid, you can give oxygen. So by the time you are trying to manipulate the oxygen mask and you are opening the oxygen, you can generate aerosol. Meaning that if the patient or the casualty has COVID-19, you are at risk. If you apply mechanical ventilator or you apply mechanical chest compression, when you expose, the benefit of using compression is that when you set it up, you connect your distance.
Okay, I think it's gone again. Can you hear me, Mr. Daniel?
Yes, can hear you.
Okay, great. So he tried stressing the points that the hazard one we face in providing CPR this time around is coronavirus. And there are, I think he was getting to the point where he is to explain to us the right tool to use in administering COVID-19, so that you do not try to save someone else and expose yourself to the danger. And so we talked about aerosol, although it was breaking, so personally couldn't get in very well, but I hope he joins us pretty soon.
Yesterday, I was fortunate to be, during the breakout session, I was fortunate to be.
Again, I'm sorry, I don't know why I got this.
Okay, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Okay.
When you perform CPR in COVID-19, or if you assume, it is safe to assume that your casualty has COVID, unfortunately, if you want to stay safe. If you have the time, you can dress as this guy, that is Noah. You can wear your body protecting devices, you can wear your face shield and whatever it, but for every 1 minute you delay, the chances, for every 1 minute you delay performing compression, the chances of survival drops by 7 to 10%. So, hey, you don't want to waste all your time wearing your PPE, but at the same time, it is your own safety first ahead of the casualty safety. Everything is the same, except that this case, you do not check for the person's response. You can go closer to say, hey, hello, madam, Oga, what is wrong with you? Do not shake them, do not touch them. You should be able to detect if they are not breathing from distance by just looking at their chest rising and falling. If you are unable to detect if they are breathing or not, it is safe to assume that they are not breathing and you need to perform CPR. To perform CPR, before you perform CPR, get a face mask or a piece of cloth and wear it or cover the person's face. The question is, are you not suffocating them? You cannot suffocate someone who is not breathing, and you can't kill someone who is dead. And in that situation, they are clinically dead. And so you start your chest compression. Do not perform mouth to mouth. Do not tilt their head if you assume the person has COVID-19. I hope this is clear. Do not open the airway. Do not perform mouth to mouth. Do your compression only CPR and deploy the automated external defibrillator. Follow the instruction of the AED. I would not cover what the AED does, but it's very simple. You can get it like this if you just turn on the AED. If you think you may have been exposed, then you may have to follow the current guidelines. Basically, you can stay away from work or from whatever, isolate for 14 days and follow what your company's procedure is, whatever that is. Lastly, I will touch on, I'm mindful of time, that's why I'm running through this. I hope I'm doing the right thing. Lastly, I will touch on advanced or the use of mechanical aid in performing CPR. Note that according to the IFRC, what is more important is being able to detect if the person has, in that situation of life-threatening emergency, do they have COVID or not? But you can't really tell, but you can as well assume that they have COVID, and then you take all necessary precautions by wearing your isolation equipment or protective equipment. So these are the mechanical CPR devices. The problem of seeing the person is in a situation and then the paramedics would wear this equipment, and the equipment will fit the person's body size and would perform compression at the right rates, at the right pace. However, while this compression is going on, the person will definitely generate aerosol to reduce aerosol generation. But it can facilitate a situation where while the device is performing the resuscitation, you are away from the person. And if you have covered the person's face, you can as well stay with the person. Remember, if you have advanced training where you can perform, you can give supplementary oxygen, also note that will generate aerosol. I hope I've been able to discuss this as much as time would allow me to do. So thank you. I will be here for your questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dare, for the wonderful presentation, even though the network was kicking you out and bringing you back, but it was an interesting one. Can we take some questions like he asked, or we move to the next session? Mr. Dare, I hope the presentation materials will be available to participants so that afterwards they can review.
Yes, I actually sent the draft ahead. It's exactly the same. I've not made any changes to it. So what I sent earlier will suffice.
All right. Thank you very much for that beautiful presentation. I hear our speaker is in now. Let me confirm. Mr. Abu, is he here with us?
Mr. Bode, kindly confirm you're online with us.
Yes, please, online.
Okay, great. So I would want to introduce Mr. Adekole Abu to you. He will be our next presenter. And after his presentation, we'll take on the quiz section. But while the next presenter is presenting, Mr. Adekole Abu, a link will be shared where we're all expected to fill the link so that our certificates will be processed, certificate of participation in this event. Mr. Adekole Abu is the Deputy General Manager, JV Security. Prior to his appointment, he served as Security Manager for Deepwater and OML 58 as a military officer who specialized in IT. Mr. Abu retired voluntarily from the Nigerian Army as a colonel. He is happily married and blessed with children. And so it will be an interesting time with Mr. Abu. I hope that we can all stick in and benefit from his wealth of experience. There's a lot he has to provide for us. And so at this time, I'll turn in the time to Mr. Abu. Welcome, Mr.
Abu. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Labode Fagbemi. I'm here to present, to make this presentation on behalf of Mr. Adekole Abu, okay, who is my DGM security. Just to share with you briefly how we managed COVID-19 pandemic within our facility here in Port Harcourt in the last 1 year or thereabout. Long before the virus came into the country, we had estimated or anticipated that we will definitely be experiencing it since it was already ravaging some parts of the world. And we all know that man is highly mobile. So we knew that some people will be traveling out while some will be returning. So we commenced drills within the facility here in Port Harcourt to ensure that we were well ahead of time in our preparation. A lot of persons felt it was too early, that it did not come here, it never get to us, this part of the world. But we had to conduct several drills, and we had different stages of plan that we rolled out then. So as we conducted this drill, those things made us to be well ahead of other organizations within the IOC and even some other smaller companies here in the state. As soon as we also noticed that we had a case recorded in Nigeria, we moved on to the next step. As soon as one case was reported in Rivers State, we moved to the next step. At some point, we had to limit office access to only staff. No more visitors were allowed in all the contractors were stopped. All people that were used to have meeting with community, host communities, and other issues that need to be resolved within the office, we had to stop our visit to the office. Then at some point, we had to even reduce, even among the staff, people who were nursing mothers, and we had to stop them from coming to office. So at this point too, we moved on to reduce the number of access points. We reviewed, because we have a main gate to the office, we have another one we call the back gate, we have the VIP stroke shuttle gate, we have the clinic gate. Of course, you will agree with me that the more gates you have into your facilities, the more vulnerable you are, the more difficult it is to manage access and manage what we call contact tracing. So we anticipated that if we record the case within Port Harcourt and probably within our office, in order for us to be able to manage access and manage the tracing of the contact, we needed to close down some of these gates. So the back gate, the VIP gates, the clinic gate were all shut down, now limiting everyone to the main gate so that we could trace, okay, which staff came in at what point, and probably who did the person have contact with. Then we went ahead to the access to facilities, like I said, were reduced, and then the temperature check, which we had earlier commenced during the drills, continued at the gate, and it impacted on us heavily, I mean, the security team, because that was not part of the objective, I mean, the functions of the security department, but we're the one that were readily available then, because we had to check ID badge at the gate, we had to check the vehicle, so we had to add this to our task. And so we continued there. Then later, the lockdown period came. So everyone was, we had to close down the office. Then again, the security people had to move into the office. We had the business continuity plan, brought in some guards who were sleeping within the office. We made provision for them. And we had to arrange for feeding, so all these continued. Of course, the oil and gas, we always continue to flow. Nobody will want to anticipate or want any of the platforms to shut down. So while people were on quarantine, even during the lockdown, the statewide lockdown, we had to arrange, and we got permit from the state government. So we go to people's homes or quarantine centers to pick them up. For those going to sites, we had to go and pick them up from the quarantine center, take them to site. When they arrive, maybe via chopper or by road, we had to also go and pick them and take them to their homes, because they were not allowed to drive in the town too. It became a heavy task on us, a heavy burden, and we had to do pick up and drop off of personnel. Later again, we needed more hotels for quarantine centers. We had to conduct audits, because as much as possible that we needed these quarantine centers, we had to ensure that they meet company standard so that we would not expose our personnel. You recall at some point in Lagos, some estates were attacked. So some of these things we had to ensure that, okay, during the lockdown, people will not just barge into any hotel and go and probably attack our personnel. So we had to conduct several audits of hotels that were later used as quarantine centers. Then we also realized that at some point, there was some breach in some of our protocols at some hotels. Because so you see somebody leaving his room, going to another person's room, to say, oh, he wants to keep him company, somebody coming out of his room, he wants to interface with somebody at the gate. These were strictly against the protocol. So we had to monitor all the CCTV footages in the quarantine center. Again, that was additional work for us. So we had to monitor them to ensure that the people on quarantine abide by the protocol handed over to them. Can we move to the next slide, please? Then we moved on. We have to heighten the hygiene level. A lot of persons up till now, including some medical persons, will still tell you that they are not sure that COVID really exists. And unfortunately, the mopos that we work with, the military guys will tell you, okay, this thing they catch mopo. But I've been able to share with a lot of them that, look, it happens, it's real. We've lost loved ones to COVID-19. So we try to sensitize them. So we have to increase the hygiene level by ensuring that people wash their hands at strategic points, places provided within the facility. We had to ensure that hand sanitizers were installed all around the facility. So at some point, all these were also captured. Then issuance of nose mask. The company started issuing nose masks to people because the challenge was, if we allow everybody to come with whatever he has, you will see all sorts of colors, the dirty ones, the neat ones. So the company had to provide nose masks for all personnel. So these also was handed over to us at the main gate. So as you come in, we notice that the one you are using is dirty or it's not like the one the company expects that we use. We have to issue you one at the gate. Then prior to this time, when we realized that we were beginning to have cases within the state, we had to deactivate all our turnstiles and tripods. They were all deactivated, and so that to limit the contact that people have with others. So we deactivated them. It's just now that we're advancing back gradually. We started deactivating them, and we also ensure that we have sanitizers installed at each turnstile, so that before you touch the turnstile, you're expected to sanitize your hand, and immediately you pass, we also have under sanitizer by the side, which you can use to sanitize your hand. Then we also carried out the contamination of public places. We have a place we call the visitors reception area. Even though visitors were not allowed into the facility, but personnel also go around those places. Some of them come around for network. So at this point, we had to ensure that the contamination team visit those areas to ensure that they carry out the contamination of these areas. The regular sensitization program for gas and GSF, like I mentioned earlier, up to now, you still see MUPOs, they still believe that it's not real. What we had to continually sensitize them and ensure that they abide by the company protocol. If you don't want to do it, then we send you back to your base. So all these amounted to additional work for team members, because at some point again, we're required to provide COVID-19 orders. So we had to get these warding guys who go around the facility to ensure that people wearing their nose masks wear them properly, and to ensure that social distancing is maintained. And now, having said all that, we had some challenges. We were more exposed, just like the medical team, because we were one of the frontliners. It led to increased workload for the team. It impacted heavily on us. I'll tell you that I had to be coming to office on a daily basis, Saturday and Sunday inclusive. It really impacted on team members. And during the lockdown, you can imagine people not having access to their homes. They had to sleep in the office. And it was really a tough time. Then another challenge we've been experiencing is refusal by personnel to comply with COVID-19 protocol. Some persons will tell you, okay, no, I will not wear the mask, and they won't do anything about it. It just became difficult, but we try to make them understand that this is the rule within the facility and they have to comply. I have just 2 slides next to these, just capture. Sorry, go to the next slide, please. Okay, just to show you, to explain to you what I have said earlier. The tripods, you can notice there was deactivated. You can see the temperature check being conducted by a halogen guard. You can see the COVID warding man showing people, okay, things they need to do as you approach the main gate. And the next to it is the last slide shows the GSF on escort duties. We had to provide the nose mask for them. We also ensure that the PPE that they use, that the bulletproof, the helmet, we decontaminate them every day. As soon as they return in the evening, we have to decontaminate these and keep them ready for use the next day. So then the helmet also, apart from decontaminating the helmets, we also provide liners, inner liners for that, to ensure that, okay, even if you sweat, it will not affect the helmet. So that is basically what we did, how we're able to manage the COVID-19 pandemic within there. And I can tell you, with all sense of modesty, And with all praises returned to God Almighty, we never lost any person. I mean, as much as we're in the front line, nobody was lost to COVID-19 among our team members. So we thank God for that. And we thank everyone who has always believed in this pandemic. It's not easy, it's not funny, but it's real, it's here with us. And until it is finally out, we must ensure we abide by the protocol that have been put on ground by both government and different organizations, as the case may be. Thank you very much. That is all from Mr. Adakuleabu, as presented by Olabode.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olabode. This has been elaborate, explaining to us all that you have done and you're still doing in your workplace to make sure that people are safe. I know there are lots of safety professionals in here. In fact, the COVID-19 is real, and we should continue the battle as frontliners. One important thing you stressed is that man is mobile. We keep moving, and this virus is transported by us as we move around. And so we need to do everything possible, from sensitization that you did to enforcement, provision of items like nose masks, hand sanitizers in your work environment. These are things we must not give up on. We need to continue to provide them and do the needful to make sure that we are safe and secure until we hear the good news that the pandemic and coronavirus is no longer with us. All right, so we would move to the next section, which will be the panel section, and that will be led by Dorcas. Dorcas, are you here?
Yes, I am. Good morning, sir. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to
Welcome.
HSC. Glad to have everyone here, and mind-blowing attendance we're having. I hope we're all having a great time, because I am learning a lot and all that. All right, so let's move straight to the panel section. This panel section, we're going to have Mr. Adakule Abu, who just spoke to us, who is humbly represented by Olabode Fagbami, to please take the virtual podium as one of our panelists. And we'll also have Mr. Nnamdi, one of our resource person and speaker from yesterday, as one of our panelists to take some of the questions that were thrown yesterday or even today also. Mr. Nnamdi was our first speaker, and he is the resource person that spoke to us on safety, while Mr. Olabode Fagbami, who represented Mr. Adakule Abu, would be our panelist, who taught us on security, will also be a panelist member. So welcome, sir. Please, let me confirm Mr. Nnamdi is on the call and has access to speak. Mr. Nnamdi, sir, please, are you on the call, sir?
Yes, I'm with you here.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Welcome. And also Mr. Olabode Fagbami, representing Mr. Adakule Abu. Are you on the call, please, sir? Confirm you can hear me and your mic is working.
Yes, I can hear you, but I'm actually expected to enter another meeting by 11:30. So I don't know how we can manage this.
This is going to be a very quick one, sir. Don't worry.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Welcome again, everybody. So I have some questions let me take Mr. Olabode first, so in case you have to leave. I have a question here. It says, what provisions did you make for ensuring the mental health of your personnel at the quarantine centers, considering the fact that the isolation has the capacity to affect the mental health of the workforce? This question is coming from Angela. Please, sir, go ahead in the next 1 minute or so. So she wants to know, what provisions did you people make to ensure the mental health of your personnel at the quarantine centers?
Okay, thank you. We had our medical team, on ground in each of the quarantine centers, who interact with them from time to time. And whatsoever they request for, the request that is acceptable It's also obliged them. The only thing is that, yes, they were not allowed access to their family members. But again, they've been prepared before time, before you go into quarantine, we'll let you know that these are the downside of it. So, and if at any point you feel that you can't continue, we don't force you. They were given the option of leaving the QC. So those are the things that we put in place that can enable a lot of persons to be able to manage and stay at the quarantine centers without any issue.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So I hope, Angela, your question has been answered.
I may add something to this, sir.
Okay, please go ahead, sir.
We happen to come from the same organization, Total, and I was in quarantine for some time as well due to my previous functions. I was going to quarantine from time to time. Beyond what they said, the medical team that is on ground, there was a number that was always shared, which is the number of a psychologist. If you want to talk to her, you can talk to her if you feel a bit depressed. So there is always the psychologist who is ready to attend to you, and everybody was followed up and somewhat encouraged to take a walk. And there are some areas where you can independently come out. In Lagos, they had it on the roof. You go to the roof to take a walk around the environment. In some other hotels, they had it within the hotel. Even though you're doing the social distancing maxed up, you were still encouraged to come out and take a little of exercise within this period. So that helped in keeping people a bit getting derailed within the 14 days in the quarantine, which was the maximum at the point. So there were those activities that encouraged people who were in quarantine. I was in quarantine myself for several times, and these were things we were doing to keep our mental health going. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I wish I was part of the quarantine team, or I was on quarantine too with you people, because having a psychologist to talk to, take a walk, all these awesome things they did. Thank you very much, sir, for answering the question. Sincerely do appreciate. All right. The next question I have here says, since security personnel had extension, of their job specs, were the security personnel giving any health training on first aid, seeing they were the ones that were on duty 24/7? Were they giving a prior first aid training before the time? This is from Elliot.
Yes, the medical team did some training on for all personnel, all the security team that were involved. They were trained, and at some point there was always a visit around. Sometimes.
Hello, can we still hear him?
The team to also come to support us. Sorry, please, that was obstruction. Yep, we were all trained.
Okay, so Elliot, yes, all the security personnel were trained, especially on first aid training knowledge. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, I have another question here that says, since teleworking has become the new normal, I would love to know the proactive measures put in place by organizations to manage the mental and psychological stress of staffs working from home. Now, you are a Total personnel, so you cannot tell us what organizations generally, but let's take Total as a case study. So what are the measures or proactive measures that are being put in place with respect to Total as a case study? Psychological stress of staff from home.
Yes, from time to time, we've been having programs conducted by the medical team. We have teams where the medical team, advise staff and sensitize them on the way to manage psychological stress and other stress that may arise. I'm a security person, so I won't be able to break it down to the different stages, but they have always been in contact, and hotlines have been provided, emails, addresses provided. If at any point in time you need the medical team, do not hesitate to call these numbers. They oblige them. So people call in to seek for what do I call it now? To consult with the medical team. So that is being looked into clearly. Up till sometime last week, we still had a session with the medical team.
Okay.
Okay, but let me add a bit as well here.
Please go ahead.
Just like I mentioned earlier, for those in quarantine, they had the number of the psychologists. But in general today, due to this teleworking, the lockdowns, there is a dedicated website for total personnel. This is managed globally, not only in Nigeria, that you can log on and you have a confidential discussion with psychologists, mental health experts, depending on what they assess as your situation. You log on, you register in, then you have a confidential discussion with a psychologist who is able to manage your psychological issues. So that is global, not only for people in the quarantine centers. It's a dedicated website. You log on, you put your details, and you choose your form of communication. It can be called on team, on video. If you want to just call, it can be a telephone call. Anyhow you want the consultation with the psychologist or the psychotherapist, that's the way the call will go. It's one thing that we have put in place here to manage people in this situation. So it's global for every step of total. You can log on and get assessed, and then if there's required for intervention, and you do the intervention, and it is purely confidential.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. So, Udofia, I'm sure your question has been answered. So that's a new development you can add to your own organization or any other organization you're linked with, having a dedicated website with psychologists and different professionals or personalities that can handle the psychological or mental stress that staff working from home would be facing. All right, this is exactly 11:29. So Mr. Olabode, I'm just going to take one more question with you so you can go join your 11:30 meeting. So this question says, please, what are the effects of central air conditioning on COVID-19 at a location like a hotel used for quarantine? Is it an increased risk to everyone in the event of a person is found positive? So Elliot, if air conditioning makes COVID-19 situation, let's say there's a positive person around, does air conditioning make it worse to other people around or makes it better, or none of the above?
Okay, please permit me, moderator, to throw this question open to the floor. Like I said, I'm a security personnel. I retired voluntarily from the SSS and joined Total, still in the security department. So I'm not very vast in this aspect. So if anyone has anything he can say to bail me out, please don't hesitate.
Okay, Doctors, just yesterday I was fortunate to be in the health group during the breakout session. And we had a practicing medical doctor with us, and I'm happy he's online. Dr. Daiwil, could you maybe shed more light on this particular question for us? Thank you, sir. Dr. Daiwil, confirm you can unmute yourself.
Okay, while we're waiting for Mr. Daiwil, is he on now?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm on now. Please, can you repeat the question, please? Hello, sorry. Just one moment.
Elliot wants to know if air condition makes COVID-19 situation or COVID-19 spread to other people around worse or better. Let's say in a situation where personnel are kept in hotel for quarantine section and the personnel for some reason is positive. Does the air condition in the hotel room, we're taking that as a case study, does it make it worse with people around in the spread, or does it make it better, or it doesn't have any effects whatsoever?
Okay, so the issue is that when someone is quarantining, like isolating, the person should be in a room alone. You understand? It shouldn't. The quarantine procedures or protocol was for either a person stays in his room or the other person stays in his room too. So in a situation where you're putting 3 or 2 people in the same room, that is bad. It means you're not sure that the other person is negative. So what we recommended then was 1 person per room so that you can stay in your room. When those people come, when it's after 14 days, you can now go out and then they will test you and then you become negative, whether you're positive or negative. But in the situation where 2 or 3 people are in one room, and then quarantining in a room, so it's dangerous. So for the air condition, I think it's subjective, 1 room per person. I don't think it's wrong or it has any effect on the health of a person that is inside. Because if you're in a room and you have your air condition, is in 1 room, so I don't think the air will be circulating outside. It's in your room. You understand what I'm saying? Hello?
Yeah, I
Yeah, you're in your room. Yes, you're in your room, so I don't think the air condition will affect any other person. You know?
Yes, but we're saying in a situation, let's say, okay, you're in an hotel, you're going to have room service come. Although, yes, the room service is supposed to be protected or whatever. Do you understand?
Yes.
But
yes.
The situation of carelessness, should I call it carelessness or? But we just want to know, is the AC helping to spread the virus, the coronavirus, or it has nothing to do?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Let me say something here.
Okay, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. The transmission of COVID-19 through HVAC system is something that is under serious debate, because the HVAC system, the way it is made, is it brings in air from outside and then through the filtering system takes air out and all that. There have been no case of a defined case of this transmission, except a research which was done in Oregon that indicated that in the filter of the HVAC system, they found genetic material of the SARS-CoV-2. But this research did not go further to assess whether this genetic material found on this HVAC system could infect people. So it's a debate that is going on, because the cleaning system of the HVAC for central ACs is quite massive, and it brings the air from outside, then filters this out before it comes back into the system. So it's not been definitive, but this study that have found this genetic material of the virus on the HVAC has not been conclusive to say, okay, this genetic material found can infect people, or it's not possible to infect people. So this is where the debate is between whether it's possible to transmit through HVAC system or not. These assessments were done even within our own facilities, offshore, because we have HVAC systems. And it was clearly that the system, the way it runs, is not able to transmit the virus from room to room. Otherwise, the little cases we had offshore, the whole rooms, everybody there would have been infected. So it's not clear whether it transmits through HVAC or not. There's only one study, and that study is not conclusive. So there's no enough scientific evidence to say it's transmitting through HVAC or not as of today.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Well, that goes out to our students present and our young professional. There is a research challenge for all of us. We can either conclude what has been started, like Dr. Nnamdi said, or we can start a new one afresh to get a concrete and a valid answer to that question. Thank you very much, Dr. Nnamdi. We sincerely do appreciate. I know I said I was going to let Mr. Olabode off, and he is on security, but I have one question on security. I don't know if he can take that or he is off.
Okay, I'm here, please.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your patience. My sincere apologies. How was cyber security managed for workers working from home?
Well, from time to time, the IST people have always sensitized us on they need to be very, very careful in ensuring that we do not just click on links or where we receive mails and just accept invitations here and there. So the campaign continued while people were working from home. So, and people who had issues at some point were also had to come to office immediately, and the IC will attend to them. So we never recorded any serious cyber issue within that period. Just one we recorded, and it was it was all over, including our offices in other locations, not only in Nigeria. So it was managed generally, but we never had, the IST did not relent in its effort to ensure that from time to time they send mails to sensitize personnel.
Okay.
In addition to what Bode has just said, before you can access the company domain from outside a secured company network, you have to pass through a security channel that requires you to either enter through your digital pass, a password, or your digital ID card. So, so if you go into a network that is unsecured, you must go another step again, which is a security step. Using that step will not give you access into the company domain. But on a normal internet, you can do only what you can do on a normal system. But to be able to enter into a secure environment of the company, you take one security step more, and that is protective from unsecured network. It's part of what is not done for the COVID. It's a general protocol of the company, but because people are now working more from home and using internet accesses from unsecured networks, which is not a company network, then this a lot of people who didn't have this access, but the access had to be now general. Before they used to grant the access based on need, but today it's not general. Everybody, because you're working from home, and it's potential that everybody can work from home, you now have access to go into that second level of security before you can access the company domain from your system, even if it's a company laptop. So that's a way they protected people from cybercrime.
Okay, thank you very much. They always say that the world, especially Nigeria, was not prepared for COVID-19, but I think Total was pre-prepared. Or maybe as the challenges came, they had awesome people on the line to keep taking care of each challenges they faced. So thank you so much for that highlight, for that information. I'm sure several people joining here organization can also try that with their own security domain and their cyber security, especially for those their personnel working from home. Thank you very much, Mr. Olabode. I free you, you can go now. Except you still want to stay on the call because I still have like 2 more questions and we're going to be done with this panel section. All right, Dr. Namdi, let me bother you a bit. Thank you so much, sir, for your patience and for your response so far to all our questions. I sincerely do appreciate. We have a question here. It says that, what are the effects of using, okay, we've seen that one, using the effect of an AC in a bus. So I think we've already answered that question. All right, so it looks like I don't have any more questions, but just so you know, Mr. Olabode, you have an awesome comment here that says, thank you, Mr. Olabode, for your presentation. It showed how comprehensive and professional your efforts were. And above all, thank you so much for coming to deliver this lecture for us at SPE Hsse Conference 2021. We sincerely do appreciate your volunteerism and your time. Thank you so much. And do extend our gratitude to your boss, Adakule Abu, for sending you on his behalf. We sincerely do appreciate. Welcome, sir. Well done, sir. And thank you, Dr. Namdi, for your I don't know how to describe it. You were here yesterday and you're still here today, willing to answer our questions. You were even answering them earlier during the early part of the section. We sincerely do appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. At this time, we've come to the end of this panel section. And once again, my name is Dorcas Jimmy. I'm the YP co-chair, SP Section 103. And right now, I'll hand over the virtual podium to our moderator to please take over. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Dorcas. It's been an interesting time, and all professionals who have contributed their wealth of knowledge to improve what we know already. The next we've been running for about 1 hour, 40 minutes. We would like to have a 5 minutes break. Please, I want to remind you that the event is not over yet. It's 11:42 by my time, and so by 11:47, we will be back. It's only a 5 minutes break. After the break, we would have our workshop. Please don't go too far. 5 minutes. 11.
Okay, so just to demonstrate,
Let's return
on the
back.
screen, you will see 5 circles, each represent 1 minute. They keep disappearing after 1 minute. So at the 5th minute, we'll have a countdown of 10 seconds, which we are expected to be seated at that time. Thank you very much. See you in 5 minutes.
Thank you. All right.
Okay, I think the break is over. This must be one of my shortest 5 minutes in my life.
Yes. Welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
Can you hear me, Mr. Daniel?
Loud and clear, sir.
All right. Welcome back. They say all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. I'm sure we've all had some time to stretch out. So quickly, we'll jump into the workshop section. And this will be led by Mr. Onyekachi Igwe. Is he around? So Onyekachi Igwe. All right, so while we wait for him to hook up, kindly be informed that we would have the quiz coming after this workshop section. And so please stay put, don't leave yet. We'll have a quiz section and it will come with certificates. So let me introduce those who will be in this workshop session with Mr. Onyekachi Igwe. We have Mr. Othman Mohammed, who is the Section Director, SP Port Harcourt. We'll have Mr. Ikenna Ikaka, Young Professionals Chairman, Chair, SP Port Harcourt. We'll have Mr. Bilal Ibrahim, who is the President, Uniport Chapter. Mr. Caleb Bassi, President, Unical Chapter. Josephine Ada, who is the President, UNN Chapter. We'll have Mr. Ian Pell, who is the Vice President, NDU. Okay, they would be our panelists in this workshop. Mr. Onyekachi, is he here yet?
Yeah, I can see him, but I believe probably he's having some network challenge. Okay, while we wait for Mr. Onyekachi Igwe, on behalf of SP Port Harcourt Section 103, we'd like to remind our audience that this event was possible due to sponsorship we received, particularly from our major sponsors. Our good sponsor is Agor Limited. They made it possible. Usually, this event should have been a paid event, but due to their sponsorship, they made it free. So I would like to say they indirectly paid for everybody that is seated here. So I'd like to recognize them and thank them. Also, we have Clarion Tech. Clarion Tech, also one of our major sponsors. In fact, it's important to announce at this moment that they are also taking charge, or they have a special package for the winners of the quiz. Yesterday, the person that came first already understands what he is going to get. Also, for the first position today, Clarion Tech will also be sponsoring them, and we really want to appreciate them. Then Hybrid Group, who is also under sponsor. We had the MD with us yesterday, and we are also happy to have them sponsored, and we really thank them for all their help. In fact, Hybrid has always shown their presence in most of the SP activities. And we'll also like to acknowledge their sponsorship and thank them especially. I will not fail to mention that luckily for us, the moderator, Mr. Ugochukwu Nwelele, is coincidentally the MD of Clarion Tech. So as you hear his beautiful voice, also say a short prayer and thank you to him for what he has been doing for us in SP. So thank you very much to our sponsors and also to you, Mr. Ugochukwu. We really appreciate it. So I don't know if Onyekachi Igwe is...
Yeah, I'm available. I'm here.
Okay, over to you now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I sincerely want to express profound gratitude to everyone for finding time to attend this conference. Yesterday was a very, very nice one. And today is the grand finale. I'm sure we shall go back home and leave this place happily. So I want to go straight to our session now. That's the workshop now. And I'll be asking some few questions from the young professionals who are here and also the senior professionals and also the students. So and I will start with the first person on the, I will start by asking the young professional, the chairman of the young professional, Mr. Ikaka, this question. And that will be this. since the pandemic started, has it impacted your work?
Okay, good morning, Ayekachi, and good morning to everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, of course, yes. My answer is yes. The pandemic has affected the way we work, if not just financially, probably has affected the period we spend with family. The introduction of quarantine and all that has also made it a situation where you have to spend less time with family compared to pre-COVID era. Equally, not just me, equally we have friends, who are out of jobs, and of course, relations, and they all have a way of still falling back to you. So really, the COVID-19 pandemic has really had its toll on not just me, but I'm sure on every one of us, if not most of us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll be asking Mr. Caleb Bassi this question as the SP Student Chapter Chairman for UNICAR. Are you with me there? Is Mr. Caleb there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. As a student, can you rightly say that the pandemic has actually been a blessing or a blessing in disguise for you or otherwise?
Okay, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah, actually, the pandemic has not been a blessing in disguise to any student around. If you ask around, many persons will tell you that I was supposed to be a graduate by now, and I was supposed to go far in my studies, but because of the pandemic, it slowed things down very well in our country. Even our mates in private universities and the ones that are schooling outside Nigeria are done with their studies, but we are still here battling with our studies. So this pandemic has really slowed things down, and the ability for our country to adapt, to start this e-learning is very, very slow. So this pandemic has not been a blessing at all to the students in the university, although it gave us some opportunities to go out there and look for something to do while we were on lockdown. So I can say it has been a blessing in disguise, and it has not been a blessing in disguise. So academically, it has slowed down everything, but because of how exposed some of us were, we had to make use of this free period and learn one or two things while we were at home. So I can say that the pandemic has been a blessing in disguise. Also, it has not been a blessing in disguise. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Caleb. Thank you very much for your contribution. I would like to ask this one to and direct it to Mr. Bilal Ibrahim, as the Uniport's chapter president. Are you there, Mr. Ibrahim? Is Mr. Ibrahim there? Okay, if he's not there, we can quickly go to Miss Inyang Pell. Miss Inyang Pell, are you there? The NDU Vice President. Can you hear me?
Bell is here, but he cannot unmute himself. So please make him a co-host, Simeon, so he can unmute himself. No, it's working.
Okay. Now I will let it go.
Okay, I think some of these questions can also be answered by anybody on the panelists, especially if it relates to students, then students can answer it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I know I'm asking this question to the students. That question that I was asked last, whether the pandemic has been a blessing in disguise, I can draw inference from the fact that many schools, when they reopened, we saw a lot of students who are coming with their cars. Some of them, their cars were even intimidating those who are lecturers. So to me, how come? What happened within the space of a year and students were coming back to school with cars? That's why I was asking that question. Was it actually a blessing in disguise? So I think that's why the students need to answer that. What happened?
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Yes, my name is Ibrahim Bilal Raba. I'm chapter's president, University of Port Harcourt, SP University of Port Harcourt. So about the pandemic was the worst hit on Nigerian students, especially the ones that attended public universities, because one, we're delayed academically. Two, the labor market in the Nigerian system will not even consider that the pandemic happened and make it advantageous to us. Three, we don't even have any e-learning system to support our academic activities while we're at home. So if I need to do the net evaluation, I would say it's not a blessing in disguise, because I'm a believer of something that says that whenever people are complaining, then that's where the opportunity lies. But we didn't have that enabling environment to make most use of the opportunity. So as for the students that were bringing cars and it's out of joblessness, they had this inordinate desire to accumulate wealth and went through some means to get it. So that's just even out of it. But if I need to do the total evaluation, the pandemic was not a blessing in disguise to us. It was just out there to delay our ambitions. And that's for me being as a student. That's it.
Okay. Thank you very, very much. I would like to direct this question to Mr. Uthman. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, sir. It's nice having you around.
Yeah, it's nice. We are already entering afternoon.
Okay.
So good morning.
It's all right. Thank you very much. So I'm directing this question to you, please. In your own terms and from your experience, how do you think the new normal is an opportunity for improvement in your organization as to how they run? I would like to ask the question again. In your own terms and from your experience, how do you think the new normal is an opportunity for improvement in your organizations as the organizations run?
Okay, once again, good morning to all. I'm glad to be here, and I thank the leadership of Section 103 for putting this together. So my reaction to the question, as you know, the pandemic came in unexpected from last year. So initially there was a total shutdown. Companies were confused. They didn't know what to do. So, but afterwards, things were put in place, and organization quickly start action by putting in place protocols for the COVID. So in a way, in the field, it's almost the same thing situation. Only the test you have to go through, either the COVID-19 test, the quarantine, or later they change it to antigen test. So in the field, it's almost 90% the same. But in the field, that's where, in the homes, offices, that is where it's a big difference. It's introduced the work at home, and people are working at home abnormally, and it also makes you to work. Some people work more, some have nothing to even do. Most of us that are working, we have to manage and support the field from our homes, and it also makes you to be multitasking. You have to do the job, you have to do webinars, you have to also attend to family because you are at home. So anything children, just like what you mentioned about the students, most schools are closed, so children are at home. So in as much as you are working, you also have to make sure that the children are studying instead to stay idle. So it's a two-way thing. The effect is there are positives and there are negatives. The positives are people introduction to new ways of working, smart work. People are working smartly, and even introduction of too many new innovations. So people take advantage of it. But the sad one is it has created unemployment. So many companies shut down operations and their personnel were laid off. So that way, it has created a bad effect on the populace. But the good news is that it has become normal. So there are introduction of new skills, because if you look at the artificial intelligence, the smart technologies, people that are in the ICT line, they have more to do, they have more to support, and even the health organizations are very busy. So this is the way it creates more job for them. But overall, it has affected the populace negatively. But we have to move on, and post-pandemic, we are trying to catch up with increased activity. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your contribution. A round of applause for you, sir. Okay, I'll move right away to my next question, and I'll be directing that to Mr. Ekin Ikiaka. I would like to ask you, Mr. Ekin, if you're there, how do you think, okay, how do you think the virtual learning, which is otherwise known as a hybrid system, can be adopted by industries? Because it's the new normal now. So how do you think industries can adopt this in Nigeria, Situa? Because I know over there in developed countries, it has been going on before now. So how do you think in Nigeria, for example, Situa, that we can adopt the virtual learning?
Okay, so by industries, I want to believe you mean companies and not institutions, a collection of both. Okay, so but I'll look at it from both perspectives. Okay, so for the industries, of course, there have been a lot of trainings they've been doing over the years, which most of them you have to travel to attend them. And with this new norm, I think most of those programs we can start restructuring them to be able to deploy via e-learning. It might be safety trainings and the rest of them. Even professional trainings are tied to certain professions, certain specialties. We can start finding ways to remodel the courses to be easily deployed online. So, but the institution which I think must really start structuring their models are actually our institutions. I think it's time we begin to put down the infrastructure, because not only does it have the potential to minimize risk in terms of physical risk that students face from moving from one place to the other, and it equally provides an opportunity to reduce costs. So really, it's something we need to start thinking about. And again, it's an avenue for employment for the ICT, like the section director has mentioned, because it will take a lot of programmers, computer scientists, data analysts, to put all this together. So really, the opportunity is there, and it's something that has already been started taking place in the West, and even some of our institutions in the country have already started adopting them. So all we just need now is to scale it up and have it reach even the federal universities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very, very much for your contribution. I would like to direct this question to one of our students, and as the president of our the Untitled Student Chapter, Mr. Caleb. Are you there, Mr. Caleb?
Yes, sir. Yes, I'm there.
Okay, sorry, I'm asking you this, but it seems you have a very, very nice insight. Now, can I ask you this question? And it goes like this. What is your understanding of remote learning? Bringing it back to our country, because I know over time it is done in the developed countries. Now, in Nigeria, as it were, students, what do you understand by remote learning? Now, if you now have an understanding of it, quite all right. I will say now need to progress. By extension, learning remotely, should it be adopted in our schools, the public schools or private schools as it were? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that question. What I do understand by remote learning is the ability for someone to assess something without actually being there. That's what it means to be remote. You're actually assessing something, a particular thing, without being there. So remote learning in that case, it also has to do with learning something without the physical appearance of either a teacher, a lecturer, or a tutor, from the comfort of your home or your workplace. So if it should be adopted in our country, Nigeria, yeah, it is very important. Just like when the pandemic started, we discovered that the federal government shut down schools, shut down churches, shut down almost everything we depended on. And so the only way we're supposed to thrive, the only way we're supposed to forge ahead was to do what? Was to learn remotely. And this took time. Only private schools, some private secondary schools and some private universities adopted this, but as for the public universities and some other organizations, they found it difficult to adapt to this change. So learning remotely should be encouraged, and also it should be practiced in our country. I don't know if I've answered the question.
Okay, thank you very much. You have really tried, but I would just like to ask this I'll pose this question to Josephine. It's just a further addition to what you said. Is Josephine there? The chapter.
Yes, good.
Okay, thank you, Josephine.
Yes,
yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Now, in the nature of a typical Nigerian, we are just all about money. More often than not, any typical establishment or a Nigerian is always driven by money. Now, I'm pretty sure that when you mention remote learning, most universities, as it were, higher institutions will frown at it. Why? Because they know that at the end of the day, those opportunities where they make money, where they can accumulate wealth, is actually, those holes are blocked. Are you saying with this norm, will they be able to accept this? Would the universities want to accept remote learning? It's a question that is bothering so many of us, and we need to ask you if you have any answer to that.
Okay, so first of all, in the educational system, we have two parties here. So it's not just only about the university. So it's about the university and then how students are going to respond to remote learning. So okay. Like you said, the instance you put up about money and then lecturers and all whatnot, I think it should be both ways. So we should not just be selfish and say, okay, as far as they're paying lecturers, I don't know how those things happen in other schools, but I can say in UNN. So you should check, would the student participation be top notch if we're going to remote? Can we actually achieve the same efficiency that we achieve with physical classes if we are going remote? Right? I think that should be the bone of contention, not about the funds that should be generated, whether remote or physical, right? So if I'm going further, I said if all these questions or if all these questions are being answered and then it turns out that remote learning gives the best, then we should go for it, or else then physical learning is good. So the bone of contention is not about the money made, it's about the efficiency, the impact made. So that's what I'll say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Our time is almost fast spent for this session, and I would just like to direct this question to Mr. Ibrahim. I like the point you raised when we spoke the last time, when you actually talked about this discourse. But I would like to ask you if there are some positives or negatives or pros and cons from working remotely. Because I know a lot of organizations, like our last speaker told us of how Total as it were had to tell most of their workforce to remain at home. I would like to ask if there are positives we can pick up from this, and also if you can tell us some negatives. I know you've said that, but let's use it to wrap up all our discussions. Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So I will make this as quick as possible. So for the positives, yes, because I remember when my inauguration as the chapter president was online, like my predecessor handed over to me online. So I can still say if you have to do an evaluation, of course, there'll be positive. Because one, bringing it to SP, since we're in an SP event, we could leverage on high-profile speakers to share their wealth of experience in our programs. This wouldn't have been achieved physically, even though I've not seen my section chair and my programs chair in a short while, which is a negative. But one positive is we can get people from anywhere to come and share their wealth of experience to we, the students, which is what we need to evolve. Another advantage that's created is like for a remote learner that's created is one, you need to do away with all this security hassle. Like if you have a top speaker coming to speak somewhere, it doesn't need to come with entourage. It is cost efficient, saves cost, and it's just advantages. But now the disadvantage is Nigerian factor. You know, it's a transition. We're still getting used to it. Students, especially students are still coming to terms with this remote learning of a thing. So we need to take this as a transition period. And two, it can be part of the transition period. It can be very tiring, coming online, what we are not used to originally. So that's just the disadvantage of it. But if we can optimize and leverage on remote learning, it's the best. To be the best for students, to be the best for students, to be the best for professionals, to be the best for industries. But now, that's thinking globally. Now, acting locally in Nigeria here, it is very difficult. So thinking globally, yes, remote learning should be accepted. But acting locally, we may have to do with this generation first before. We need to tell our children that there's something like remote learning so they'll be ready for it, because the whole system is really corrupt. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, everyone. I want to especially thank the panelists and also the discussants. And I will say, let's continue to have a swell time as the conference progresses. Thank you very much. Over to you, moderator.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oyekachi Igwe, and all beautiful persons who have heard their views and helped make this workshop a success. I learned a few things. Okay, so the next item will be the quiz section. And like Mr. Daniel has said, there are prizes for the winners. And so please endeavor to participate. And then don't forget that there will be a certificate at the end of this program. So let's move straight to the quiz session.
Good afternoon, all, and thank you for being part of this history we are making today in terms of our HSC conference. We'll go straight to the quiz session, which coincidentally is our icebreaker. Like we did yesterday, we'll be using a platform called Kahoot. And Kahoot, I will explain, is an online platform that allows users to, perform quiz, presentations, and even lectures and training. So before I go to that, I would like to mention what we have at stake. We will be sharing about 10 questions. And then we encourage everybody online to participate. And I'll tell you why it's very important. At the end of the quiz, we'll be having we'll be considering the top 5 winners. And they will be receiving some cash token from SP Port Harcourt, just to support their presence online. So we could use it for data or other things. But what is even more interesting is that whoever comes first will have a special packet in addition to that. And this is coming from Clarion Tech. I will not mention what it is at the moment. After the quiz, we will announce that. And that winner will get these gifts. And I can assure you it's something that whoever that wins will really, really appreciate. So after now, I will be sharing my screen. And I will guide you on the process, how the game will flow. So confirm you can see my screen. Coming up. Okay. Confirm you can see my screen. Hello.
Yeah, we can see the screen.
Okay. Okay, now the website, like I mentioned, is www.kahoots.it. Don't exit the meeting, minimize the meeting, open your browser. You type the website, www.kahoots.it. Input the PIN 4141691. Then you'll be prompted to choose a username. Please use your surname and the last 2 digits of your mobile number so we can easily identify you. Please use a name that we can easily identify you by. Preferably surname and the last 2 digits of your mobile number. Okay, we have 5 persons online. 6. At the moment, we are, let me confirm, 96 online, so we need at least 70 persons minimum. So we give a minute for everybody to try and connect. We have 25 persons online and counting.
Onu Majuro has a hand raised. I don't know if he has a question relating to the Kahoot, sir. So. Hello, Daniel. Can you hear me, sir?
Okay. You said someone raised his hand, his or her hand. Sorry.
Yes. Onu Majuro Collins.
If he has an issue, you can drop a message in the chat box quickly.
Yeah, actually, I want to get some info because I wasn't around yesterday, and today when I tried joining, you people have already gone so far. So I don't know if I have anybody to recall me back. That's what I'm talking about.
No, is there any concern you need us to address quickly? Because I didn't get your questions.
He didn't get your question, Collins. What exactly do you want?
If you need further about what you people have discussed so far, I didn't meet up on time, so I'm not that much active with what you have been talking about.
You can actually go online after this on YouTube and you can watch the recordings. I can direct you.
Yeah, the link will be dropped in the chat box, so you can just easily click on it. You get everything there.
Okay, we have We have 45 persons online now. Let's give another 10 seconds. Otherwise, we can start. The fewer, the better, so that somebody can win. Doctors, your chances are increasing. People are not connecting.
They are connecting. I'm seeing 50. I'm seeing 51. Something you'd have started. You'd have started when we're only like 5 or 6.
Okay, another 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm starting the game now. I will read the question. It will also appear on your screens. You'll be presented with options, about 4 options. You select the correct one and relax. You have no other action to take. Mind you, some questions may be true or false, so it means you'll see just 2 options. So select the one that you think is appropriate. So thank you very much. Okay, we have 61 persons. You can start now. Okay. First question. What are the common symptoms of COVID-19? Okay, before we progress, I would also like to mention that getting the correct answer is important, but as timing is also another factor. So we are considering speed and accuracy, like someone suggested, and network too. Well, our focus is for speed and accuracy, so you may get the answer, but if you take your time, the person that answered before you will get more points. So I'll project to know who is topping for now. We have Bede 78 as the person topping. You can see he answered, he got more points because he answered faster than every other person. So for now, the race is between Bede, Sami, Angela, Ariote, and PK. Next question, please. What are the common ways to protect yourself from COVID-19? Okay, everybody has answered, so I can end it very soon. We still had 3 people filling it. Why? Anyway, who is leading now? Okay, Bede, you are still there. Angela second. PK has picked up. Angela picked up. Opara has displayed somebody. Okay. Next question. Which of the following can be said to Hello? Hello?
Can hear you.
You can hear me now?
I hear you. Continue.
Sorry, I think we had some network glitch. What do we do now? Okay, hold on. Okay, just hold on a second. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Please
Yes, we
come. Okay. So we can continue.
Yes, sir.
Hello, can you see my screen?
Not
No,
now.
we can't.
No.
Okay. I don't know what is happening. I'm sure the people that didn't win yesterday, they're not happy. We'll try again.
Maybe because of Dorcas, she's losing, so.
Hey.
Well, yesterday we didn't have this issue, but she thought she was going to win.
I told you. Yeah, just giving me the answer before time.
You people should allow Dorcas to win, no, at least.
Okay, the question is up now. Currently, which group?
It's not up on my
Group has had more severe. Okay.
Yep, I just lost that one.
Sammy 45 is leading. Queen 05 second. Lord third. Dofia fourth. Zacchaeus fifth. Okay. Next question, please. How does weather seem to affect the novel coronavirus? Okay, Sammy is still topping. Zacchaeus giving a very close run. Kennedy third. Yanayon fourth. Queen 05 fifth. Okay. Next question. How many vaccine candidates for COVID-19 has been proposed? Very, very. Lucas, don't worry. We must finish this game today.
I can't win it. My network connection, you know, since I'm tired, let me explain stuff.
Yeah, mine is showing me reconnecting, and I truly want to win today's quiz.
Welcome to the club. Please, is everyone having the same issue? Mine has been showing reconnecting.
I'm having connection issues too.
I'm also having connection issues here.
Okay. If all of us are having it.
I think it should be from Daniel's end. If everybody's having the same issues, be from Daniel's end because he's the host of, he's one that is launching the Kahoot, so his network is having issues.
Yeah, the network is having serious issues. I don't know. Yesterday we did it seamlessly without any problems.
Time up. Okay. 3 questions. All.
Doctor, did you go to your village?
I didn't go now. That's the problem. Should have gone and told them I was loyal.
Let's try again one more time. Okay, there's indication that in order for us to proceed with the game, we need to start afresh. I don't know if it's fair. Okay. Okay, I think it's up again. Let's be ready in case it shows so we can continue.
So are we like putting the ID again?
I think we should just continue from where.
Okay, it didn't end, so we can continue. We'll skip number 6 question, but nobody answered it, so fair enough. We can continue. So Sammy is still where he is. Everybody's still in that position. Okay. Next question. True or false? COVID-19 has currently been detected on all 7 continents. True or false?
Time up. That
was very short. Okay. Zacchaeus has toppled the game. Kennedy following close by Sammy, Lot, and Yana Young. Okay, next question, number 8. Which of the following can be accepted as lessons learned from the pandemic?
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Oh, we're still there.
Yes. I think it got worse on his end.
All these people entering waiting room at this time. Now, wow. Well, they follow, they make my submission take forever.
Just come and try their luck. Huh?
No enter since. It's not the one to enter.
Connections issues again.
Most of them were logged out, so they are logging back in.
Well, take home lesson learned. Do not be a host or a co-host or be attached to anything when playing Kahoot. Just only Kahoot and the Zoom. Finish.
Please come again.
It's my lesson, or it's not your lesson. Time up. I'm tired. What did you do again?
Hello.
Hello, are we there?
Yes, I think this is the end of the Kahoot section because we answered the 10th question.
Okay, I think he's coming back. Mr. Simeon, can you make him a co-host? He's actually in, but he can't unmute himself. Let's see.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay.
Oh, okay, I think I've gotten my privileges back. Okay, sorry guys for how the game turned out to be today.
Connection issues and
Somebody
3
suggesting,
timeout. Not fair though.
yeah, somebody suggesting that we redo the game. I don't know if the problem will persist. So, moderator, what do you suggest? Because of time.
Yeah, it depends. But I know some people want to win this prizes badly. And so
if you do not have fresh set of questions,
what will be the next item? Mr.
Daniel, if you do have fresh set of questions,
yeah,
you can just go ahead and redo it. But if you don't, let the winners be the winners.
Okay.
I think we have some people
I
leading
don't
already.
have first set of questions.
Then
Yeah,
let's whoever won, let them be the winners, because I'm sure everybody had the network issue. Everybody had the timeout issue. I'm sure, although some people more than the others.
Everybody suffered the same thing.
Exactly.
Okay, I will share the official results, but let me just mention the names of the winners. In third position, we have Sammy 45. So Sammy 45, please drop your name and your phone number in the chat box. Second position, we have Kennedy 94. Whoever you are, drop your name and phone number in the chat box. Then the first position is Zacchaeus. We don't have any number attached to your name. So whoever that is Zacchaeus, I hope nobody would claim Zacchaeus. Please drop your name also in the chat box and your phone number. So congratulations to our top 3 winners. I will still call the remaining 2 names. That is the 4th and the 5th position, and I'll share the outcome for everyone to see. But special congratulations also to the first position, because he'll be contacted by us and we'll connect him to Byron Tech for his wonderful package, which will be announced very soon. Thank you very much, and congratulations to everyone for participating, because we are all winners. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel, and thank you for everyone who held on despite the new normal challenge. So we would deal with the photographs, and then that will be followed closely with announcements. The photograph section will be led by Dorcas. Are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, can we lead this, please?
Please, everyone, let's go ahead and turn on our cameras. Although I don't know why we're doing photos after people have lost. Would they be willing to smile? So please, let's turn on our cameras for the next 30 seconds while Simeon takes it. Someone has already said, I won't smile. Please smile. So let's turn on our cameras and we take that now. Okay, Simeon cannot take the photos. Who will be doing that? Mr. Daniel, could you do that from your end, please?
I may not be able to do that. I don't know.
Okay.
For certain reasons.
Sorry.
Wilson is here now. Wilson can do that for us.
Okay. Wilson, can you do that, please?
Wilson.
Daniel, please, can you check your message? Thank you. Sorry.
Otto, please, are you available? Or do you want?
I'm using my
I'm taking it. I'm taking it. Just give me like 10 more seconds, 20 more seconds. Yeah.
So you're already taking, or we're starting?
I'm already taking it. Just give me like 20 more seconds. Yeah.
Okay, people. So please go ahead and smile. Forgive Juwon for snapping out you pose and smile. How many more seconds?
Like in the face. Okay, so I think we are good. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, people. Thank you for your smiles, fighting through the trials. All right, moderator, please go ahead, sir.
Right, thank you. It's been a wonderful time.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry, moderator. Just to ask, I don't know if the link for the certificates have been dropped in the chat box. I don't know if the link is there. Have anybody filled the form for his certificates? So that we don't miss that. It's very important. Can I get responses? Anybody can unmute and speak.
I'm yet to see the form online.
But I'm trying to, I can't find the link.
No.
Okay, the link has been provided now.
Okay, I think I see it.
Simeon.
It has been dropped.
Okay, you've seen it.
Yes, the link is
Okay,
there.
please, when you click on the link, you'll be requested to input your name. Please spell your name correctly, because that is how it will appear on your certificates. Very important. Very important. So we'll give the floor to announcement. I'll take the last announcement, which will be also to display the winners of the quiz and the grand prize. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Doctors, please, can you do the announcement or begin?
Okay, so is membership coming first before I do announcements, or?
Either way.
Please, Queen, go ahead. Please unmute Queen so she can go ahead with the membership. Hello, Simeon.
Yes, I've done that.
All right, Queen, please go ahead, unmute yourself.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, yes, thank you for this opportunity. My name is Moses Queen, and I'm presenting the membership team today. So if you've not registered, you're not yet an SPE member, I believe the link has been sent in the group chat for you to register. Just click on the link and then indicate your interest in being an SPE member. So SPE provides a lot of professional platforms for people to network, get to meet people in different fields, basically in the oil and gas industry, and then helps increase your platform. You learn, as can be seen from this wonderful program. So programs like this are being held from time to time, and it helps increase our technical know-how as well as increase our knowledge generally. Simon, please, next slide. So we have SP in different regions across the world. So wherever you are, you can actually join any SP section of your choice. And we have different benefits of being an SPE member, ranging from the training programs, the certificate programs. For example, in this particular program, at the end of the day, you have certificates to show that you've actually engaged yourself in an Hsse training, and that will also help increase your portfolio. For students, it's wonderful when you're coming out there as a graduate member and you're already having professional certificates, so it helps to boost your CV. Then you have access to our resources like JPT Magazine, One Petrol Wiki, where you have updates on new technologies coming up in the field. That would really help also in boosting companies and practices. So for those who are not yet members, I would really encourage you to click on the link that is being shown in the group, in the chat room. If you've not seen it before, it is here now. So that's the link available. Please do well to click on that link to indicate your interest in being a member. For student members, if you're not yet a part of your student chapter, please do well to join. For student membership, it is free of charge for students, while for professionals, it is 18,000 naira for EDE membership, and professional membership is 29,000. If also as an SP member, you're required to renew your membership yearly. So if you've not renewed your membership, please do well to renew your membership. It is just 14,000 naira for membership renewal. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Queen. So you've heard it from her. Let's, if we're not SPE members, let's get connected and let's join SPE using the link there to indicate your interest, and you'll be reached out to. All right, we have several upcoming events coming up in SP Section 103, and most of them are virtual, if not all. So all of us here on the call can join it. First is our monthly technical meeting. That will take place on the 29th of April, which is about 4 or 5 days from now. The link is there. Just click on the link and register to be part of that monthly technical meeting, where we'll be learning about the new development in corrosion and flaw detection in oil and gas facilities, a look at what has worked and what can be worked. Also, we're looking forward to providing clean, potable water. It's a project for community outreach and also face masks as a giveaway coming up soon for community outreach. As part of SPE Cares, reaching out to our communities, we're not just into giving you technical knowledge and all that, we also do community outreach. Also, we have our virtual town hall meeting that will be on SDG 13. This will be coming up on the 7th of May by 12 noon. So the link is there also. If you can click on it and register to be part of it. We have a video challenge also on SDG 13, where the first prize winner will be going home with the huge sum of 30,000 naira, and 25 and 20, 15 and 10 for second, third, and fourth, fifth position respectively. Let's take advantage of this opportunity and get involved in the challenge. The procedure and how to submit your video and be a winner is there also for us to follow. Also, we have our Clean Energy and Artificial Intelligence Symposium coming up. This is a program sponsored by Total. It's mostly for secondary school and university students. There will be a competition of submission of any clean energy or artificial intelligence projects where winners will be called out. And also we're going to have what we call the Energy for Me training for people, and certificates will be issued out to science teachers and all that. The link is there on the flyer to register and also be part of it. Simeon, can you go to the next slide, please? Also, we have our upcoming event, which is our annual charity open golf tournament.
Yeah, I think the problem is network. We're having a slight network challenge.
Normally have to, as an opportunity to raise fund and also prepare for raise fund for charity projects and charity opportunities. So this will be taking place on the 22nd of May, 2021. So please join that. And this is our social media, our different social media handles. So please screenshot this, copy down however you want to do it. Follow us on all our social media spaces, where you can also see other future upcoming events and programs that you can be part of. Thank you very much. See me on next slide, please. Thank you. We'll move on to the next agenda. Please go ahead, moderator. The virtual podium is back. I'll hand over back to you.
All right, thank you very much, team, for all you said. We would now invite Mr. Oyekachi to share a vote of thanks. Mr. Oyekachi.
Okay. I'm supposed to be given the closing remark. The vote of thanks should be handled by Mr. Daniel or Mr. Badadi, SP Session Chair. Hope I'm right.
Yes, go ahead with your closing remarks,
Okay.
Mr. Onikachi.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much for the platform again. The world has actually been ravaged by pandemics over time, and many have failed to learn from history. It is usually said that history repeats itself. More than at any other time in history, we need to learn our lessons and be better prepared for any exigencies. Else, what befell us in the past will be a child's play to what we shall witness again. As a group, the SP Port Harcourt session has decided to be part of those who will try to change the narrative. And that's the reasons this conference is organized. By this conference, I'm sure we're able to predict the future and stem any negative tide that may hamper existence and sustainability. It is on this note and premise that I want to appreciate all our discussants and all participants for all their contributions, while assuring that all the outcome that we've garnered from our discussions will not just be swept under the carpet, but that it will become a public document through which the government and those in power and the people of the world will be made to act on. We are going to send out a brochure after this conference as a follow-up to today's event. Let me use this opportunity and this medium to appreciate everyone who has made this a reality, from the board and the session chair to members of the HSSC study group, Mr. Daniel, and all the members of the committee. I want to thank all the participants who also came online so that we can see their beautiful faces. I want to appreciate you all the panelists since yesterday and the discussants, all who have contributed in no small way, all our sponsors, our Goal Hybrid. I want to say thank you to you all. And we are hoping to see you again when we shall have another conference like this in the future. Long live SP Port Harcourt session 103. Long live SP Nigeria, and long live Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Onikachi, for the closing remarks. We'll invite Mr. Daniel to give us a vote of thanks.
Okay. I hope my mic is on. Okay. Good afternoon, all. I feel honored and privileged to get the opportunity to propose a vote of thanks on this special day. This is a memorable day in the history of SP Port Harcourt. Today, we successfully hosted one of the biggest virtual HSC conference and exhibitions in Nigeria, with well over 250 participants in attendance, cutting through different sectors, including the energy industry, health sector, security, universities, finance, and even the security. I would like to thank the senior members and board of directors of SP Section 103 for gracing this event, section chairman in person of Mr. Debola Bada, who was our go-to man throughout the planning and delivery of this conference. The program chair and all members of the conference planning committee who worked tirelessly to ensure that this program was a success. You guys are the best. I say a big thank you to our distinguished speakers, trainer, and panelists. Special thanks to our moderator, Mr. Aminu Adamu Ashaka, and our wonderful guest today, our moderator, Ugochukwu Nwailele. Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Jamil Badmos, thank you for setting the stage for the conference with your insightful keynote address titled The Pandemic, Future of Work and Hush Management, Where Lies Our Hope. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation to Mr. Mohammed Abu Ibibo for his explanation on how the safety of workers and public health can be better protected even as the pandemic continues to rage on. Further, we are grateful to Mr. Nnamdi Ahiamadu for sharing the perspective on how the environment is responding to the pandemic with his address, Environmental Implications of the Global Response to COVID-19. Also, a big thank you for being part of the panel session I held today. I'd also like to express my sincere thanks to Mr. Jerry Bulu for his research work and analysis on how public health is a key factor that can affect crude oil prices and must receive the right attention by key stakeholders. Your address, return on experience, pandemic management, and the recommendations are all well received. Special thanks to Mr. Adakole Abu and Olabode Fagbemi for sharing insights drawn from experience on how security can be managed during the coronavirus pandemic. We express our gratitude to our sponsors who proved their love and support for SPE over and over again. Agor Limited, Clarontech, and Hybrid. We cannot thank you enough. Also to our media partners, Hsse Nations, say thank you for an exceptional task in publicity. For all our participants who took our time to register for the event and stay to the end, even though it was a two-day event, say thank you to our students, young professionals of tomorrow. Say thank you. Finally, I, Daniel Maduagu, Hsse Study Group Lead for SPE Port Harcourt section, and on behalf of the 2021 Hsse Conference Exhibition Committee, we say thank you for making this event a success. Thank you very much and stay blessed.
Lastly, I just want to read a comment. Mr. Hiboro in the chat, he says, I really appreciate the organizers for the all-inclusive approach adopted in this conference. Deliverables were apt, concise, and clear to all categories of persons, as evidenced in the Q&A section. Thank you. I'm looking forward to more section. In fact, he said my mind. It's been wonderful 2 days. I was here yesterday and today I'm privileged to be here again. I would want to express
Hello, I think we lost the moderator. We lost him, right? Okay, I think he was reading the comments from Mr. Yana Ikuru. I really appreciate the organizers for the all-inclusive approach adopted in this conference. Deliverables were apt, concise, and clear to all categories of persons, as evidenced in the Q&A session. Thank you, and looking forward to more sessions. Then Chioma Ezeji, she said, thank you for all the exposure. The meeting has been very educative and informative. I've learned a lot. It has been a nice experience. God bless you richly. We have special thanks to sponsors and supporters and so many comments and thank yous. I don't know if we can take all of them. So,
Mr. Daniel, we can't take all of them.
Yes, Mr. Gochiku back again.
We
okay.
were so
okay,
many.
I think we can go straight to the next. There are so many of them, so many. Please, if I didn't read your one, it's not intentional. It's just our time is fast spent, and we really appreciate your positive comments and feedback. We know with your comment we'll do better next time. So I think we'll go straight to end the event. We started with prayer, so it's only natural for us to end the prayers. So I'll hand over to the doctors. You can take the closing prayers. Thank you.
All right, everybody, please let's pray. Let's go to God in prayers. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you today. Thank you for a successful conference. Despite the itch or network disturbance, we had the knowledge we need we needed to know. We got the impact. Thank you for safety and for everything that took place today. We pray, Lord, that those of us that are still heading to our different destinations, that you take us down there safely. And those of us joining from home, you keep us safe and continue to protect us. Take absolute control of our lives and give us the strength for future conferences and programs. Thank you, Father, for all these and many more. We pray and ask. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Okay, doctors, just before we go, I would like to mention or announce the names of the 5 winners. I'm trying to share my screen. Just 1 minute, please.
Speaking
so
of that,
we can get the complete names.
Dare, I still do not have Dare's information. I still do not have, except he doesn't want his prize. For today's own, I've gotten all 4 of them. I think you had 5, so the 5th person. I have Sammy and phone number. I have Mr. Kennedy, although Mr. Kennedy said he's moving his own to someone. I also have Zacchaeus, Mbowajid Zacchaeus, and his phone number. Ariot 72, who came 4th position. I also have his detail, although he said he's gladly donating his own to me, his price to me. So that's all I have. I don't have who is in 5th position or whom Mr. Kennedy is moving his own reward to.
Okay.